Been a while. Welcome back. I've just filmed a whole video and then I realized my light wasn't on.
No.
Now my light is on and I hope you guys have grabbed a nice cup of coffee because my cup broke. And it's currently just used for stationery. So please, for my part, grab a nice cup of coffee and enjoy this video. Okay, one of the first things that we do as experienced discus keepers is we quarantine. Lots of people know you should quarantine, but the way that we quarantine is a little different than people that initially start out with discus. So when we get discus, and most people do it this way, you buy from one source and you enjoy the discus, and then you see more that's available somewhere else and then you buy those as well. We quarantine our discus apart and for quite some time as well. At least minimum quarantine period when you get fish at first is 2 weeks, but sometimes when you quarantine you should quarantine for up to 12 weeks. And you get different sources and testing their compatibility. The reason being is discus from different farms come with different bacteria. So it doesn't mean that group A that you originally had is sick, no. It's when you add group B to group A, you tend to have a compatibility issue. And now we're starting to touch on the topic of the discus plague. But in short, when you mix fish without quarantining and medicating properly, you normally see acute symptoms between 2 days and 14 days. We quarantine separate because different farms come from carry different flagellates, different bacteria, so that's why we quarantine separately. Okay, second thing that experienced discus keepers do is we tend to customize our discus diets. We vary the diets for discus as much as possible to avoid constipation, monotonous feeding, mineral shortages, lack of protein, avoid fillers in commercial foods. There's many reasons, but we tend to customize our foods, and what I mean by that is you'll see that a lot of discus keepers that are serious make their own custom frozen mixes. And this is time consuming, but we use veggies, powders, garlics, even algae, different color sources, carotenoids, we use meats. A lot of people use beef heart, I use ostrich fillet, I've got a whole video on that, I'll drop a link below. But one of the reasons why we do that is it just adds that 10 or 20% growth factor. And also, if you're into the discus look, where they look very bulky, they look very thick and they look very bulky, then we tend to feed them a lot of meats that has got some saturated fats in it, and that's got at least 50-60% protein in it. Be careful though when you do this, you don't want to do it 3 times a day necessarily, otherwise your discus can develop fatty liver syndrome. But like I said, if you want that extra growth factor or you want to control what your discus eat, then frozen mix is great. And another reason why we customize our foods is if you've got yellow discus, they've got receptors that can absorb carotenoids under their skin, which results in a yellow discus turning orange. So astaxanthin, carotenoids, krill meal, salmon, yeah, those are basically your color pigmented foods, and they are responsible for turning your beautiful lemon yellow discus into an orange. A lot of experienced fish keepers do this necessarily. It's not really a discus specific thing, but a lot of us that are experienced with discus, we've got hospital tanks ready. That is on standby, that is there when a discus suddenly gets sick, or you forgot to add dechlorinator and you add lots of new tap water in your system. If you don't have a purifier, whatever, something died in your tank, you gotta get those discus fixed quickly. And one of the best ways we do this is we have a hospital tank. Or like I say, this links to the previous one. If you notice an early subtle sign, separate that fish from the rest before it contaminates the rest of the fish. Number 5 is patience. In this hobby, especially if you breed discus, you need patience. 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 Because discus do what they want. Sometimes they want to breed, sometimes they don't want to breed. The more experienced you become, the more easy you can trigger discus to breed or successfully raise their fry. But we have patience. We've got patience with quarantining. We've got patience with discus that are sick, that should come right. We've got patience with medication. We've got patience with growing out discus. If you do it correctly, you put in a lot of work. It takes a lot of patience, a lot of discipline, and a lot of routine. Okay, and then last one for this video before it gets too long, I would say, is we fuss less about products. Okay, we start saying less is more. We stop saying what if. When you start discus, you tend to be very intimidated with the fact that, oh, I'm getting discus, and there's this huge stigma that they're so finicky and they die when a leaf just grows a millimeter, you know. But the thing is, you start figuring out what works for you, and you start worrying more about consistency than the ideal parameters. As long as your discus are kept in consistent parameters, that's good. That's good. What works for you works for you. What works for me works for me. And we all have different water sources. We all have different fish coming from different farms. So that is why there's so much clashing of information on the internet, is because everyone has different stuff that works for them, and this one doesn't agree with that one. It's like religion. This doesn't agree with mine, doesn't agree with yours. And you know, if you stop pursuing perfection and you start pursuing consistency, you will be amazed with how little you can get away with when you keep discus. I am very lucky here that my tap water has got just the right calcium content, the right magnesium content, that my pH doesn't dance around. So I don't have to add anything for pH, I don't add any vitamins or anything. If your fish's diet is correct, you don't always have to add stuff to the water. Stop spending your buck. Save your buck and don't give a twig.
No.
So I hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you again on the next video. I'm not gonna edit too much. Editing takes a lot of my time, and yeah, I don't always. Editing is a lot of work and it frustrates the living hell out of me. So I'm just gonna give simple information without being too much, and I hope you guys enjoyed. I'll see you again in the next one.
2,000 years later.
What is it? Oh, this thing. Yeah, check out this thing. Hey, I gotta brag a little bit. This is my new baby. My new baby. This is my little microscope. It's a small one, but it's quite powerful. Yes. It's monocular because I can only see in one eye. So I just use the right one and I can see in here different objectives. I've got only one stage. I've got two lights to use. One is mostly for parasites to see bright, and the other one's less light for different purposes like seeing bacteria. And then this little gadget right here I got from Amazon, and this is where you put your phone in and you hook it on and you line it up perfectly. You can take a photo of what you're seeing and you can send it to your vet. So this is quite cool. And then I've got a separate eyepiece camera as well. I don't have it here, but it goes on, you plug it into your computer. So I can actually look and see on the PC, and if I'm helping someone else, they can stand next to me and I can show them, hey, there's a nematode or a trematode or there's protoplenoflagellates or whatever the case may be. You can actually show them. Where's the chippy? Come! Ah, where's the chippy? Come!